Good morning, ladies. I am very excited today that we're going to do a long-awaited spot special. So what we're going to discuss today is why we get spots, what kind of things cause spots, and how we can treat them. And we're going to look at internal solutions, supplements, and topical solutions. So that's just to give you the gin. Now, let me give you the background of my spot history. Some of you might know this already, but I suffered from acne from 13 to 29, and it was quite painful. It defined aspects of my life and how I did things. And I realized, you know, for me, how debilitating it can be to have spots. I also got them again when I became perimenopausal and menopausal because my hormones were fluctuating, and that caused me to have spots again. And those were more throbby ones that never came to a head. So it can really affect your self-confidence. And I think especially if you're younger, it could be that you're somebody younger watching, or you have teenage kids, boys and girls, teenagers, boys and girls, it makes nothing, but just people who are just being affected by bad skin or acne for the first time. I started off really at 13, just getting a few around my chin, and they built up here. Then I got them a bit on my forehead. Where spot sits on your face, there is a kind of face mapping people do that shows where they are is how you can judge what they're from. But a lot of the ways you treat them are going to be similar. So to know what causes that spot, some of you might automatically know, and some of you would like to know more details, but there is a spot mapping, which we will try and put up at the end on the blog, Maiko's sitting in the bathtub. So I started off and I just used to use some drying lotion. I think I got Clinic 3 Step when I was about 16, tried that. It was paint stripping on my skin. My skin was either very dry or really dry on the spot that I put toothpaste or pure salicylic acid on, and the rest of my skin wasn't. So that contrast really caused scarring. I also picked my spots, which when Lila, my darling daughter, has a spot now, I really, really try to encourage her not to pick, because I had very bad scarring. I then had laser to treat it with, which I'll talk to you about as well. But it did leave marks, which I spent a long time getting rid of. And there is a real tendency to want to pick it before you go out of an evening, because you don't want people to see it, but sometimes it makes it worse. So how to pick a spot is also key if you're in a desperate situation to pick a spot, which we'll go through. So I didn't try to change my diet. I had many dermatologists I went to see. My mum sent me to tons of dermatologists. And in the end, age 29, after lots hadn't worked, I saw a man of age 90 in Harley Street called Dr. Gold. And he said, it's nothing to do with what you eat, and just here's some more tetracycline and minicin and all these antibiotics that he gave me, which probably screwed up my system a bit in my 20s. But I did tetracycline for about 3 years. I did minicin. I did Dianet, which was a pill, but I didn't use the contraceptive. I use it for controlling my hormone levels. And finally, age 29, I was so fed up with having it that I took Ractane. Ractane is probably the strongest thing you can do for acne. It's not recommended for everyone. It did work for me, but that was a time before I became a little bit more enlightened about doing healthier solutions. And I took it first of all on the National Health, and they gave me 20 milligrams a day of Ractane, and I took it for 3 months, and they didn't really go. They sort of started to go. It's a pure form of vitamin A. Very intense and strong, so your sebaceous glands just dry up and your hair gets dry. It's great, I had never had greasy hair, but your joints are stiff, and you can tell how harsh it is. And in the end, after it didn't work and I thought it's going to be my saviour, I went, and I remember I spent, my salary at the time was about £700 a month, or £800 a month, and I remember spending £300 a month to do it privately. That's how desperate I was to cure my skin. And I did it with a private doctor. He said, I'm going to put you on 60 milligrams a day, and after 6 months it had gone. And it was so staggering for me that it had gone, and I kind of think I vowed from that time, let me really look after my skin. And that's when I started to do my full regimes, because I wasn't just having to only deal with the spot. you know, by the time I was 30, I had a few little signs of, you know, wear and tear on my skin. I had the scarring. So that's when I really got into my vitamin C and my regimes, and it stemmed from that. So that's my spot history. Okay, why do you get spots? So what happens is we have our sebaceous glands, and they're kind of, you know, they're the ones the hair follicles come out of. And there's tiny, you know, they can produce a lot of excess sebum, and that can cause a whitehead or a blackhead. If it's right on the surface of the skin, it's generally a blackhead because it's out facing. If it can't get to the surface of the skin and it's stuck and it never becomes cystic, it can become milia, which are those really difficult to get to whiteheads that are embedded and never come up. But if it's infected and it's under the surface of the skin, it can become cystic. And that's when you get that throbbing spot, which either has a big head and pus and or it just red and throbby. So those are the three different types of ways that spots can be on your skin. And what happens is this kind of harmless bacteria will live on all the areas, and it will infect your plugged follicles, and you'll just get these spots. Now, what causes them? Generally, it's all down to hormones, and there's different types of hormones. There's general menstrual hormones, there's perimenopausal hormones, but testosterone is the baby hormone that's doing it, because that's the kind of pumping hormone, and it will give you more oil in your skin, and that would then just give you a disparity in your pores and cause that excess sebum to make a spot. Also, stress doesn't help. A lot of people, when they're stressed, I've got girls in my office here, all in their 20s, hormonal, but also they've been working incredibly hard and their skin's gone a bit topsy-turvy, and that I would put down to cortisol, to the stress hormone, which will also, because it's an imbalance of hormone, is going to get your glands to produce more oil. Your environment, you know, if you don't clean your skin properly, if you use dirty towels, if you use a tool to wash your skin or a dirty flannel, that's bacteria living on your skin. It can clog your pores. And weather as well, you can get dehydrated with weather, and it gets, you know, when your skin isn't replaced, when you've got dry skin cells sitting on the top, you'll produce more oil because your skin will think it's dry, so it produces more oil. But what's happening is you're just not exfoliating your skin. Diet. I do believe diet has got a place in having spots, and there may be different types of spots, but sugar. Let's talk about bloody sugar. It raises your blood sugar levels. It releases insulin in your blood. Your oil glands, as a result, can produce more oil. So all these things affect it. So how are we going to attack it? All right, there's a sort of five-fold ways we're going to attack it. You've got to exfoliate your skin, ladies. You've got to clean that surface. You've got to keep that pH balance healthy. You mustn't prevent dead skin cells forming, which blocks that pore and clogs it. You need to replenish your skin's moisture barrier. So all those girls who feel, I've got spots, I mustn't hydrate my skin, that's absolutely utter baloney. You need to be hydrating your skin. You don't want to tell your skin it's too dry, so it produces even more oil. Think of it like that. You need to have a really good daily cleansing routine. And if you have problems with your skin, a double cleanse is really key. To do something that you clean it once to get the makeup off maybe, and then you clean it again to really get all the bacteria out. So I'm going to show you now some products. And are there any questions, Maiko, before we start?
What can you do to prevent spots caused by stress in your 30s? How does it differ then?
I think it's the same, because you're still producing hormonal changes, and so if you're really stressed, as I said, you produce cortisol, more cortisol, and it would tell your gland to produce more oil. So that age still means the same things are going to happen. That same process is going to happen to your skin. There's another lady, Vicky, hello, I'm ruled by the weather, spot suffer. That makes sense, never suffered, and I started going through menopause at 48. My skin is normal dry, and I use a lot of Gardener Wisdom products, which I'm pleased to help. Hello, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Everyone is saying lovely good morning. Any other? I know, Phoebe and Cordy, how fab is that? Yes, Accutane was the best thing I ever did, even with the side effects after years trying the antibiotics. Hannah, I know. For some of us, it really worked. you suffer rosacea, you get awful red, sore, lumpy spots from that. Tina, we've got 1 or 2 things that are good for rosacea here. We did do with Shabir something about rosacea on Trinny Time blog, so please look at that because there's even more products that are great for rosacea. Vitamin C toner, fantastic. I wonder, could I please ask, says Karina, I don't get spots, but I've got a blemish where I plucked an eyebrow hair and it's come out, but left a raised blemish and hasn't gone away for months. It could be what's happened there, darling, is you've got a milia, which is just, it's sort of there, or it could just be that you've got a ingrown hair when you plucked an eyebrow hair and there was another very thin hair underneath it and it came up and it's growing back in. So it could be that. So we'll talk about that if we've got time at the end. So I think it's good to, it's lovely to hear all your comments, including Jesus Saves. So I'm just going to start with some really good products that we find through the office. Now, there's, as I said earlier, there's quite a few people in the office who do not have imbalanced skin. So they've all been trying all these things here. Lila's been trying some things too as a teenager. I've tried things too when I've had issues. And so there's something for everyone. So I'm going to start off with one of my favorite supplements to take, and a sort of healthy supplement. Here it is. Where are we going? There. I'm sorry if it's back to front, but I can tell you about it. So this is Clear Skin Complex. I talk about it a lot. £22, and it's a prebiotic in it, zinc, which will regulate your sebaceous gland, and it stops the influence of the hormone production. And it also has in it some burdock root. This is very good to take, and I won't name people in my office, but a man in my office takes this, 2 men in my office take this, and they find it a real benefit. So that's dealing internally with things, and you want to deal with things externally. One of the men who takes it also has taken on its own burdock. So organically grown burdock root. So can you read it there? Burdock root helps to detoxify your liver. So it's removing toxins from your liver, purifying the bloodstream, and that will really help because spots also can suffer from having an inflammation. So with the zinc and the burdock together, you're reducing the inflammation, bacteria, and you're helping to detox the liver, which can kind of populate your body with bad toxins if it's not detoxified properly. Number 3 is something that Skin Accumax, which 2 ladies in my office have been using. There's a few people who come to see us, Maiko, who've been using it, who swear by it. If you are interested in Ractane, but you think that's really strong and very unorganic, then Skin Accumax is an alternative. There we go. This is a supplement. And this is £39, probably for a month's supply, but it has in it vitamin A, which Ractane has, and which will nourish your layers of the skin. It will help clarify, clear your skin. It's got vitamin C in it, ascorbic acid, and it will help normal collagen formation, so your skin gets back to a normal function. It doesn't cause your skin to peel or flake, all right? And vitamin A, a really strong one, does. But you have to use it for longer. So Maika used it just for a month and she didn't see so much of a change, and Africa used it for 3 months and she really felt a change. So I think that's quite an interesting one to take. General bacteria on your skin and dealing with that bacteria in your skin is very important. And time out here, this is a tiny one that comes with a big one, but somebody in the office has taken it. This is sold on Victoria Health. Shabir loves it. It's got organic thyme, which is anti-inflammatory, and it really helps eradicating acne, the bacteria that cause acne, which is called Propionibacterium acnes. And thyme, this thyme, is steeped for many weeks so that you get the really strong essence of thyme. This is also a great product for people with rosacea and eczema. So it does say spots, rosacea, eczema. Don't go mad with it. It can be a little bit drying because anything that's antibacterial can, by balance, be a tiny bit drying, but it's great. So we've now got a few regimes which have been sworn by in the office and people are loving. I'm going to start with the most expensive one, which is Allies of Skin. And Allies of Skin is a brand that Maiko and I and my daughter Lila have been trying for 3 months now, on and off. I've used the one which isn't necessarily for oily prone skin. I use the other ones and I love every single product. I think it's phenomenal. It was started by this guy, Nicholas Travis, and he was from, I think, Singapore. Is he Singapore or somewhere? Somewhere in the East, I can't remember where. But he had really bad acne, and he studied biochemistry, and then he went into some very different business. But he came back and he thought, I want to do a brand. And there's a few products in it I love. We don't also have, can we have the anti-pollutant spray if we can find it? Yeah. So the first one is it's called Promise Keeper Blemish Facial. You can see it's been so well used in the office. Very expensive, it's £110. I need to get that out there. But it has very good balance of acids. It's got mandelic, lactic, pyruvic, and azelaic. And these acids together fight blemishes incredibly well, sort of renewing, encouraging collagen. It's got colloidal silver. Colloidal silver is one of the nirvanas of the supplement alternative skin world. I've been always given it when I've had a little breakout by my really nice naturopathic facialist, Viridian, and she believes in it strongly. Spray you can take sublingually if you're feeling bacterial in yourself. It's just a fantastic colloidal silver. So I love that, and you've loved that, Maiko, haven't you? And she's been using it, and it's kind of a hydrator, but it's not. So you know, a lot of people feel they can't hydrate their skin if they've got spots. Do this. I know it's really expensive. I have got some alternatives for you. Okay.
The spray is up in the corner.
The spray is up in the corner. On the left hand side. Okay, let me just see.
And then the pollution mask is here.
Okay, where is the night cream? Where's the hydrating spray? Up in the corner. Is it there? I've got it there. I've got it there. Hydrating mists. No, I can't get it out. They also have a spray, which I love. But they have a whole range. Look at the range. It's really worth looking at the range. Are there any telling people what to put on a facial? It's pretty beat. Okay, let's just mute him. All right, okay. Now, Marion, I've got something in your budget, darling, all right? So there's something for everyone. I always do something for everyone, so don't worry. I'm going to start now with, so we've got Fresh Slate, we've got the overnight clearing pads here. Now, this brand I talk about a lot, 31st State here, and they have a lot of products. These are overnight clearing pads. They're £15, and they contain lactic acid and tea tree. So they'll resurface the skin. They're very good for blemished skin, but it's mild, so my daughter uses it. And there's a pad in here, and you put the pad on your face, and it smells fine. And you could cut it in half or do one and half a night. So that is a great product. They also have a spot control gel for those desperate moments, but this has manuka and witch hazel in it, so it's not anything really strong that's going to totally dry out your skin. But if you've got a teenager or somebody who's not very good at keeping their skin clean, they just dab it on. And I think tea tree can be good, but very drying. I like the combination of witch hazel and manuka. Manuka is an incredibly good antibacterial honey. A lot of people swear by manuka, but if you can get plus 200, plus 300, that has even more antibacterial properties in it. So I think that's really good to do. That's that one. And next up, we're looking at some acids. So if you are Marion and you don't want to do the teenager routine, and that's just not for teenagers, but the woman who started 31st State, which I haven't got, I wanted to get her name here. Do we have her name? No, we don't. But she started for her teenage son who suffers from acne, and she came up to me at some beauty thing and said, I've got this really good range. And I was like, a lot of people do that to me, but I thought, okay, I liked her story. I liked the fact that she felt so strongly about her son's teenage acne and how difficult it is for teenage boys who have acne because they can't cover it like teenage girls. And so she spent a long time developing this to get it right. And I think I love that. So we've had quite a few people trying it and we think it really works. It's great. And it's a reasonable price. Then we have acids. So I'm going to go back to Darling Shabir's because he's got acids he's developed for all different things. So actually I'll quickly put in a liquid exfoliating product is a very good thing to do because if we go back to the beginning about how we want to keep our balance right on our skin, how we don't want to have too much oil being produced, but how we need to take off the dead skin cells, because if the dead skin cells are removed, then our sebaceous glands are not thinking, oh my goodness, we're dry, we need to produce more oil. So you want to keep a balance on your skin, and then that will really help to keep things calm. So a lot of you swear by Alpha Gold, liquid gold. I can't remember how much it is. Do you remember how much it is?
About £33.
£33, but this is a fantastic daily exfoliating toner. We put it in our exfoliating toners last week. You can look at that, or 2 weeks ago. We did retinol last week. So do look at that. And if you've had scarring and you're in your sort of 40s, look at our retinol one for actually helping to reduce that scarring too. So these all help from different angles. Any other questions? Yes.
Does vitamin C cause spots?
I think some people do say that they start using vitamin C, it causes spots. That's never happened to me. L-ascorbic acid is something that is quite dynamic on the skin, and if you have sensitive skin, your skin could maybe react to it. But I haven't had that in my case, so I can't speak from the experience of it, but a few of you have mentioned vitamin C can do it. It's a different kind of, if you use a lot of vitamin C, are you stripping your skin a bit with the strength of that L-ascorbic acid? Maybe, and therefore is your skin feeling dry and it's going to produce more sebaceous bacterial gunk? Perhaps. Don't totally know the answer. I'm just making an assumption there. But if you found it's caused you spots, dial it down, use it every other day. Just get your skin used to it so it doesn't react. Yes.
Are there any types of facials you'd recommend?
I think that, let's say you got the spot, there's certain little tools and things that I do. So if you really, really, really need to pick the spot, you're getting married tomorrow, kind of need to pick the spot. Important things to remember. Get your skin warmed up. Now, it doesn't mean you steam your skin, because if you steam your skin, the contrast when the steam comes off, I think closes your pores very quickly. So I don't know how much I believe a steam treatment to work, which is a very obvious treatment which I had in my 20s and 30s. But what I do believe is if you really massage your spot first, so let's say you have one with a lot of gunk in it. I did this with Eve Lom and she really taught me this, is I would, if it wasn't one with a white head, you know, pustular one, but it was there and it felt a bit hard inside, I kind of take something, one of these little products, it could be a little mask, Eve Lom rescue mask, a clay mask is good, but I just rub it like that. And then I have taken the Glow Pro with a little red light and just gone over like that for 10 minutes watching telly, very gently. And I put on maybe a little peel first and done that. And in the morning, I felt it's receded. So that's my own little treatment. And then there are very clever tools that can help take spots out. For milia, I would definitely, if you can, go to someone like Teresa Tame or a good facialist who can use that little tool that kind of presses down. It's quite painful if they do it on your nose and just pushes that spot out, but without squeezing it. If you do need to get to a spot, instead of doing that together, which kind of you think is going to push it out, it does really, you know, I get those marks left on my skin for ages. So generally I just press around it and to see if it's going to release. The alternative, if you're very, very, very stuck, but this is only for desperate measures, is you get a sterilized needle, which you can get from the pharmacy, and you gently, gently, gently prick that spot so that there's a place to release the pus, instead of you're forcing the pus with your fingers, which has more likelihood of causing a scar. So if you give a sort of, you take off the pressure cooker and it can come out gently, it won't pierce that skin in an inappropriate way, which will leave scarring. That's only if you're desperate. If you can, hold on and let the process come out. Let the detox, let the bacteria come out and release it. I'm going to go on some acids, all right, and then we'll do some more questions, yeah? So we've got 3 different acids that I'm really loving. Azelaic acid, which we spoke about, one second there, can you see it, before. It's antibacterial as an acid. This is 10%, it's £9. So yeast is not a friend of ours. It lives on the surface of your skin. It inhibits the growth of bacteria in the follicles and additionally removes dead skin cells. It's a very good treatment for mild to moderate acne, all right? So I don't know if I said that correctly so you understand it. Our second acid is niacinamide. This is something, sorry, it's not an acid, niacinamide, niacinamide. Niacinamide you can get from many brands. This is a £9 one. The Ordinary do one too. Niod, I think, does one. And this will go in the skin. It will regulate your sebum activity and it will help to prevent breakouts. Niacinamide is very known for it's B12. Is it B12 or B6? Yeah, B12. B12 or B6? I'm going mad. I've lost the B. It's not B12, it's B3. I've lost the B. I know the B backwards and I've lost the B. But it's very helpful as a daily treatment for your skin. And the third one is salicylic acid 2%. Now this is if you wanted to do a little kind of peel. It dissolves away your dead skin cells, quite deeply cleaning your pores. And you can put that on and rub it in and really get to grips with it. So that's your solutions. And then when you're covering spots, I've got to say to you, because I just spent the whole week doing it, and I wish I could show you a spot that's really spot-like, but when you cover, this is my thought process on covering. I'm just going to get here. I think if you have a really, really, really throbby spot, like, let me just imagine here, I've got, let's say I have a throbby spot. If I put it on with my finger, and I'm using Just Touch because I do think it's a phenomenal cover-upper, you can put it on like that, and let's say that's your spot there. I would do that. And then I go around the outside and I blend it out. But I keep the thickness on top of the spot. So lots of people sometimes put a concealer on and they'll go, let's say this is a spot. I'm just trying to show you because I don't have any at the moment, but you put it on with one and then you'll be rubbing it in and it will, because the spot is raised, it will actually not work so well or cover so well. So that to me is the key. You put it on where the spot is and you go around and you blend around. And where the head of the spot is, you just keep it like that. An alternative, which some people prefer, is if it's really raised and you want to get into it, you do take a brush. I like this one from, what's it called? Artis. And you'd sort of go on the spot like that, same principle, and just tap it. And as you tap, because there's not so much oil with your skin, it will stay on better. And the same again, you can go around like that and just blend out on the side. Remember when you've got spots, I did this thing with my daughter. She loves a brush and she had all her girlfriends over for a birthday party and they all tried on their makeup. They've all perhaps got a few little spots and all sharing brushes. So she was saying, oh, look at my lovely brushes. And I said, Lila, and I picked them up. I said, Lila, you've got to remember to wash your makeup brushes because this is like a hive of activity for your skin. And if you think you're doing all the right things and you're still getting them, think of the bacteria. The other thing I have to say is that many, many, many girls might suddenly find that they've got spots just here and not here. And the reason is that they're holding up a phone full of bacteria, more bacteria than we know of a lucite, and they're on the phone like that. And that bacteria is just transferring to their skin, especially all around here, and it's going to grow and become spotty. So cleaning your phone, antibacterial wipes, this is all incredibly important stuff. Another thing too, for some ladies who maybe have facial hair removal or eyebrow removal, that's a time when you've had it done. Two things I would always recommend. When you go to the person who's going to remove your facial hair, make sure you go with a very clean skin, because if she's doing threading or waxing and your skin is not really clean, whatever you've got on your face can just jump into that very exposed pore and create a blockage with bacteria. So make sure your skin is really clean. She does it. Put on aloe vera afterwards. I think it's great. Don't touch your face with your hands. Just for that day, don't, because we do it so often without thinking. And we could just do that. And if you've done above your brow and you wonder why, some of it could be the reaction because you have sensitive skin. Quite a lot of it is because you're blocking that pore with a little bacteria and then it becomes a spot. So that's my little bit of advice. Anything else?
Yes. What was the cover-up called, please?
The cover-up is from Trinny London. It's our Just a Touch foundation and concealer. And I was in Birmingham yesterday and I had many women who had bad skin and they had been, covering up. A lot of women who had bad skin in their teens, they'd been really covering their face because they were so uncomfortable with it. They got in their 20s and I could see the women who had very heavy concealer in their 20s, it was living with the memory of that bad skin. The skin wasn't so bad anymore. So it was about, hey, take off the double wear, take off the Studio Fix by MAC. You don't need that much coverage. Just do the smallest amount where you need it. So, you know, with me, I need it under my eyes, but I had very bad skin. So in my 20s, I covered up a lot. So in my 30s, when my skin went, I was still wearing heavy foundation. And then one day I woke up and actually realized I didn't need to. So it's very important to do that. But when you have got bad skin, remember where it is, and not all of your skin is affected. Even if you feel you've got a face full of acne, there's going to be bits which are good. So use, I mean, for me, I can't get enough of it, BFF. Put that on first, give your skin a glow. Even if you've got spots, it's not going to cause more. And then you just do your concealer where you need it. That's kind of key. I'm going to talk very, very briefly now about long-term solutions, because there are one or two. For those of you who now have spots behind you, but the acne scars are really strong. So there's two things about acne scars. There's acne scars that are sort of a few months to 10 years old, and they might just be uneven skin tone and a little bit of uneven texture. So with the uneven skin tone, I still believe vitamin C is brilliant. And I do believe that microneedling can really help break down a tiny bit of scar tissue. It's just a daily or 3 times a week skincare regime to do a little microneedle and a vitamin C, just to help with evenness of skin tone, breaking down some of that pigmentation. So that's one thing. Now, longer term, for me, when I had done the Roaccutane, my skin, I really had picked it a lot, and I had very uneven texture. And I did, many, many years ago, a CO2 laser, which was an incredibly invasive laser. And I was literally put asleep. It was that strong. I woke up, my skin was a little bit red, and my dermatologist said to me, don't let it go dry, put this cream on it every day. And I remember sleeping like that. And my skin over a week got redder and redder and redder and redder. I was like a beetroot. And then I had a very big change of skin color between here and here, because this has all been, you know, lasered to help even out skin tone. It did ultimately really help the texture of my skin, because my skin texture now I'm very comfortable with. But it was a really invasive treatment, and then I had to be incredibly careful that I wore SPF 50 for at least 5 years. Every single day I wore it, because I was paranoid because your skin is more sensitive to getting pigmentation. They now do have a new CO2 laser. And what happens also when you've had bad skin in your teens and 20s is you get to your 40s and 50s and you get this separation of your skin on your chin and a little bit here. And so I believe, again, a little daily microneedling, things to soften that separation. But if you're really affected by it, and if you think you have the budget for it, there is a CO2 laser, which is a kind of gentler form of that now. You're not put under, you can do, it's like a fractional laser. You can do a very soft treatment and do 6 or 7, or you can do a bigger treatment and then, you know you have to wear makeup for a week. But for those who can't bear that rough texture, that is one solution. Lasers are very strong. You've got to really make that decision yourself. Otherwise, daily little resurfacing is great. But we know it's a big subject for all of you. This is just our take on an aspect of it. There are many different things you can do when you have bad spots, but I hope you've learned a little bit, if you didn't know before, why spots appear, why they come, and how we can treat them. Diet, which we've only briefly spoken of, can be a huge part of some people's spots. So if you kind of came off sugar, a lot of people get a few spots because everything's coming out. I think sugar is a killer for bad skin. It really does just attack them and make them grow and populate. And if anyone's got a real issue with it, and any teenage daughter you might have, you know that if she's munching into the sweets and the fast foods, her skin will be double as bad. And I wish that silly Dr. Gold 90-year-old man had told me that when I was in my teens, because I might have listened. So anyway, that's it. I hope you've enjoyed it, ladies. Thank you so much for tuning in. And any of your friends who have spots or are having an issue, please forward this to them so that they too can get help, because it is something that can really take away your confidence. And I just want everyone to not feel what I felt when I was a teenager, because it can be horrible. Have a lovely Sunday.